Hey guys, I just want to give you a real quick lesson on exponents today. So if I fly through this and you're not quite sure, just go ahead, try to re-listen to it, see if it makes sense, or talk to the teacher, talk to a person next to you. I'm going to try to make this as short as possible, so hopefully it makes sense. We are talking about exponents today. I'm going to start off with what looks like this. You may have seen something like this before. Maybe you knew what it was. Maybe you didn't know what it was. But this is an exponent. We always see an exponent with a normal sized number and then a smaller number up above, kind of in that top right corner. Exponents are just like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division in that they are simply another operation for us to learn. Exponents, briefly or simply stated, are simply repeated multiplication. So many of you tend to think that this exponent is simply 5 times 3. That is not correct. 5 times 3 is a pretty easy thing to write. If I wanted 5 times 3, I'd write 5 times 3. But the reason we use an exponent for repeated multiplication is, well, 5 times 5 times 5 was pretty short to write. Some exponents get to be pretty long, and they do help you shorten it out. So, why exponents, and how does it fit in? Well, one thing I want to remind you of, if we did have the math problem 5 times 3, like the actual math problem, not the exponent, this is simply a repeated addition problem, and that we take 5, and we're going to have 3 of them. Multiplication is repeated addition. So, let's show it with another one. Let's say we had the number 2, or the problem 2 times 4. We'd take the number 2. Oops, we're doing addition here. Okay. Take 2, and we're going to add it to itself 4 times. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 8. What would you rather write out? 2 times 4 or 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2? So, that's our brief review lesson. Multiplication is repeated addition, so that we can take that and build it into exponents. Exponents are repeated multiplication. So let's keep that in mind. A couple things to think about when we're working with exponents is how we say them. No matter what exponent you have, or what base you have, sorry guys, okay, there's a couple ways we can say things. The simple way would be 2 to the second, or 2 to the second power. Second powers can also be said as squared. We have a shortcut way. We could say this as 2 squared. The next one we could say is 2 to the third power, or 2 to the third, or there is a short version of 2 cubed. Now we have 2 to the fourth, or 2 to the fourth power. We do not have a shortened version for that. And after that, it just keeps going. 2 to the fifth, or 2 to the fifth power. 2 to the sixth, 2 to the sixth power, and on and on and on. Squared and cubed are shorthands for when you have a 2 and a 3 in that top right corner. Next, let's talk about what are the parts of an exponent. So if we're looking at 2 to the fourth power, this normal sized number down here on the bottom is the base. The smaller number up in the corner is the exponent. When solving exponents, the base is always the number you see, and the exponent is how many times you see that. So bottom, base, top, exponent. Now let's get to our 3 forms. When I give you an exponent like 2 to the fourth power, that is in exponential or exponent form. In order to solve and figure out what this equals, we need to write this out as its repeated multiplication. The base is the number I see, and the top number, the exponent, is how many times I see it. This is our expanded form. You'll hear it referred to as expanded form and as repeated multiplication. They mean the same thing. So after this, we now have to kind of work through it. We're going to do 2 times 2 is 4, and maybe 2 times 2 is 4, and then let's multiply these together. 4 times 4 is 16. You also could work left to right. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16. This is standard form. Standard form, anytime we use that, is a simple number. You can think of it like the value. What does this equal? We have standard form in other areas of math as well, and it still is always just that final single number. Exponent form, expanded form, standard form. Sorry guys, I know there's glare, can't really work around it, but I'll try. Okay, exponent, base and exponent, expanded form, which is repeated multiplication, standard form, which is kind of like the value at the end. So, I'm going to give you another exponent. I want you to either pause this video or try to solve through it real quick and see if you can get the correct expanded form and standard form. Let's do 3 to the third power. So, pause the video now, give it a try for expanded and standard. I'll pick it back up in a second. Alright, let's see how you did. I know that my base for this one is 3, but the exponent's also 3. But keeping in mind, 3 is what I see, and I should have 3 of them. Hopefully you didn't just do 3 times 3. 3 times 3 times 3 is our expanded form. Now to get to our standard form, we need to multiply it out, make it work. 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. Did you get both those correct? So this is where I'm stopped. Like I said, try to keep this video short. The main things I want you to focus on is remembering that the bottom number is the base, the top number is the exponent, and our 3 forms here. Exponent form, expanded form, and standard form. Take the exponent form and write it out as repeated multiplications. The base is what you see, and the exponent is how many times you see it. To get to standard form, that's like our standard numbers. That's what you would say. If somebody asked you how many pancakes you wanted for breakfast, you would say, I want 27. You wouldn't say, I want 3 to the third power pancakes. That's just silly. It's also silly to eat 27 pancakes. Don't do that. You'll get sick.